Santa's Lost Hat, a Christmas Bedtime Story. On a chilly Christmas Eve, Santa's sleigh rushed through the snowy sky when a playful wind suddenly swirled around him. Whoosh! His red hat flew off and dropped into sleepy forest below. Santa touched his cold head and chuckled. Well, that's a bit of trouble on Christmas night. Down in the forest, a warm little shop glowed with golden light. The sign read, "Heavenly Hats, Winnie and Patrick." Inside, the two friends were busy making Christmas hats. Winnie stitching soft patterns, Patrick adding tiny jingle bells. Suddenly, the door chimed. When they looked up, their eyes widened. Santa stood there, snowy beard, rosy cheeks, and no hat. "Dear friends," Santa said kindly, "a winter breeze stole mine. Could you help me?" Winnie and Patrick smiled and got to work. They chose the softest red yarn, the warmest lining, and added sparkles of Christmas magic. When they placed the finished hat on Santa's head, it glowed gently like warm holiday light. Santa beamed. "This is perfect. Thank you for saving my Christmas journey." He gifted them 2 tiny snowflake charms and flew back into the sky, bells ringing softly. And as he disappeared among the stars, Winnie and Patrick smiled, knowing their kindness kept Christmas magic alive. Moral: even a small act of kindness can brighten someone's entire Christmas. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more magical bedtime tales. Next story: The Christmas Snowflake Wish Bedtime. The Christmas Snowflake Wish Bedtime Story. In the quiet town of Winterbrook, a little girl named Lila stood outside her window on Christmas Eve, watching snowflakes float gently from the sky. Every Christmas, Lila made one special wish, but this year, she didn't know what to wish for. Just then, a glowing snowflake drifted down, brighter than all the rest. It landed softly on her mitten. To her surprise, the snowflake whispered, "A true wish comes from the heart." Lila thought for a moment. She didn't want toys or sweets or anything for herself. She finally closed her eyes and wished, "I hope everyone in the world feels love tonight." The glowing snowflake rose into the sky, sparkling brighter and brighter. It drifted over houses, forests, and snowy hills, spreading warmth wherever it went. Families laughed a little more. Friends forgave old mistakes. Lonely hearts felt a gentle comfort. Even Santa, flying high above, felt the warm magic pass by. He smiled and whispered, "That must be Lila's wish." And when Lila woke up the next morning, the whole world felt just a little kinder, all because of one pure Christmas wish made from the heart. Moral: the most beautiful wishes are the ones made for others. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more magical bedtime tales. Ready for the next story? Story 3: The Little Reindeer Who Believed. The tiny bell that saved Christmas bedtime story. Deep in the North Pole workshop, where toys filled every corner and candy canes sparkled on the shelves, there hung a tiny bell, small, dusty, and almost forgotten. On Christmas Eve night, while the elves packed Santa's sleigh, that tiny bell noticed something alarming. The final reindeer rope had come loose. One strong gust of wind, and the sleigh could drift away, but everyone was too busy to see it. The tiny bell tried to shake, but it was so light, no sound came out. So it tried again and again, until finally, jing, the softest little jingle echoed through the workshop. An elf named Nico, who was half asleep, lifted his head. "Huh? Who rang that?" He spotted the loose rope just in time. With quick, sleepy hands, he tied it back securely, saving Santa's sleigh from drifting into the snowy sky. Nico looked around, confused. "Who helped me?" The tiny bell didn't answer. It only sat there quietly, glowing with pride. And that night, Santa gave a gentle tap to the bell before he flew off. whispering, "Even the smallest helpers save Christmas." Moral: no one is too small to make a big difference. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more magical bedtime tales. Ready for the next story. Story 4. The Snowman Who Wanted a Hug. The Snowman Who Wanted a Hug bedtime story. In a quiet, snowy field stood a little snowman named Frosty. He had shiny button eyes, a carrot nose, and a woolly hat that kept sliding over one eye. Every day, families passed by laughing and playing. Children built snow forts. Parents pulled sleds. But no one ever stopped to hug Frosty. He sighed softly, snowflakes drifting off his shoulders. "I wish someone would hug me, just once." One chilly afternoon, a girl named Emma came walking through the snow. She had warm mittens, rosy cheeks, and a heart that noticed things others missed. When she saw Frosty standing alone, she walked up to him and smiled. "You look like you need something," she said gently. Frosty whispered, I wish for a hug." Emma's smile grew. She took off her colorful handmade scarf and wrapped it around Frosty's snowy shoulders. Then she hugged him tightly, warming him from the inside out. For the first time, Frosty felt loved, truly loved. That night, the stars shimmered a little brighter, and Frosty's scarf glowed softly with joy. And every winter after that, Emma visited him first, making sure he never felt lonely again. Moral: a small act of warmth can melt even the coldest loneliness. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more magical bedtime tales. Ready for the next story? Story 5. Mrs. Claus' Secret Cookie Recipe. Mrs. Claus' Secret Cookie Recipe Bedtime Story. In the warm, sweet-smelling kitchen of the North Pole, Mrs. Claus was busy baking her famous Christmas cookies, the ones Santa said made his heart jingle with joy. But this year, disaster struck. The elves misplaced her secret recipe card. Flour flew everywhere. Sugar spilled onto the floor, and dozens of elves searched every cupboard, drawer, and stocking. Mrs. Claus laughed softly. "Oh dear, it's not lost. You simply forgot the real secret." The elves gathered around, curious. She placed a mixing bowl in front of them and said, "Let's make them together." One elf added sprinkles. Another added chocolate chips. Another stirred gently so nothing spilled. And Mrs. Claus smiled as they worked side by side. When the cookies finally baked, the whole kitchen filled with the warmest, happiest smell. An elf asked, "So what is the secret ingredient?" Mrs. Claus leaned in and whispered, "Kindness. Cookies taste magical when made with it." The elves nodded, realizing they had helped create the most delicious batch ever. And when Santa took a bite, he said, These taste like teamwork." Moral: the sweetest things in life are made with kindness and togetherness. If this story warmed your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more magical bedtime tales. Ready for the next story? Story 6. The Christmas Wish Lantern. The Christmas Wish Lantern Bedtime Story. In a small snowy village, a little boy named Theo held a glowing paper lantern on Christmas Eve. Every year, his family lit lanterns with wishes written inside and sent them gently into the sky. But this year, Theo had only one wish, and it was for someone else. He wrote softly, "I wish my grandma could feel happy again. She had been lonely ever since Grandpa passed, and Christmas didn't feel the same." Theo lit his lantern, cupped it in his hands, and whispered, "Please carry my wish somewhere it can help." The warm light lifted the lantern into the sky. Higher and higher it floated, across rooftops, snowy trees, and quiet hills. Far away in her little cabin, Grandma sat alone beside the fire when suddenly, the glowing lantern drifted down and settled outside her window. She opened the door, surprised. Inside the lantern, she found Theo's wish. Her eyes filled with tears not of sadness, but of love. She wrapped herself in her coat and hurried through the snow to Theo's house. When Theo opened the door, Grandma hugged him tightly and whispered, "Your wish came true, because you reminded me I'm never alone." They spent the rest of the night laughing, sharing cookies, and filling the home with warmth brighter than the lantern itself. Moral: wishes for others shine the brightest and bring hearts together. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more magical bedtime tales. Next, The Kitten in the Stocking. The Kitten in the Stocking bedtime story. On Christmas Eve, in a quiet little cottage, a tiny gray kitten wandered through the snow, shivering and alone. She had no home and no warm place to sleep. As she searched for shelter, she spotted a row of colorful stockings hanging by a glowing window. One stocking, the red one with white snowflakes, looked especially warm. The kitten wiggled inside and curled up, purring softly. For the first time in days, she felt safe. That night, the Parker family came home from the Christmas fair. Little Mia rushed to the stockings and gasped, "Mom, Dad, my stocking is moving." She gently peeked inside and found two bright kitten eyes staring back. "Oh, you poor little thing," Mia whispered. She wrapped the kitten in her scarf and hugged her close. The kitten nuzzled into her, already trusting her soft, loving heart. Mia smiled and said, "I think Santa gave me the perfect gift, someone to love." Her parents agreed, and the kitten was welcomed into the family from that very moment. That Christmas Eve, the tiny kitten slept in a warm bed, surrounded by giggles, cocoa, and love, the greatest gift she had ever known. Moral: sometimes the best gifts aren't wrapped, they simply need a loving home. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more magical bedtime tales. Ready for the next story? Story 8. The Star That Couldn't Shine. The Star That Couldn't Shine bedtime story. High above the snowy world, a tiny star named Lumi twinkled softly, trying her best to shine like the others. But no matter how hard she tried, her light stayed dim. "All the other stars sparkle," Lumi whispered sadly. "I'm not bright enough to matter." On Christmas Eve, a snowstorm swept across the sky. Clouds thickened, winds howled, and even the brightest stars disappeared behind the swirling white. Down below, Santa's sleigh struggled to find its way through the blizzard. "We need a guiding light," Santa called. The star elders tried to shine, but the storm swallowed their light. Only Lumi remained visible, her tiny glow flickering bravely through the swirling snow. She felt nervous, but she pushed her light as hard as she could, and slowly, softly, her glow grew brighter, then brighter, until her gentle light pierced the storm and reached Santa. "There!" Santa shouted with joy. "A brave little star is guiding us." Following Lumi's glow, Santa delivered every gift safely. When the storm cleared, all the stars cheered for Lumi, the star who thought she wasn't good enough, but became the hero of Christmas night. Lumi finally twinkled with pride, shining brighter than she ever had before. Moral: even the smallest light can brighten the darkest night. Never doubt your worth. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more magical bedtime tales. Ready for the next story? Story 9. The Elf Who Overslept. The Elf Who Overslept bedtime story. In the busy North Pole workshop, every elf was rushing, packing, wrapping, and jingling their way through Christmas Eve. Except one. Tilly, the tiniest elf with the biggest dreams, was still fast asleep in her peppermint-striped bed. The alarm bells chimed. The reindeer hooves thundered. Even Santa called, "Final check, everyone. But Tilly didn't hear a thing. Until, bonk! A snowball fell from the ceiling onto her head. She shot up. Oh, gumdrops! I overslept! She raced through the workshop, boots mismatched, hat sideways, and tools spilling from her pockets. When she finally reached her station, she gasped. The last toy on the list, a wooden train, was unfinished. I can do this, she whispered. Her tiny hands worked faster than ever, painting, gluing, polishing, and tying a perfect little bow. Just as Santa stepped in, she placed the completed toy into his sack. Santa smiled warmly. Tilly, you just saved a child's Christmas morning. Tilly blushed, her little ears turning red with pride. That night, as Santa flew into the sky, Tilly heard her name whispered on the wind. A hard start doesn't mean a bad finish. She fell asleep with a happy heart, knowing she'd made Christmas magical. Moral: it's never too late to do your best. A small effort can still make a big difference. If this story made you smile, please like, share, and subscribe for more magical bedtime tales. Ready for the next story. Story 10. Santa's Missing Boot. Santa's Missing Boot Bedtime Story. On Christmas Eve, Santa was getting ready for his long night of delivering gifts. His coat was buttoned, his hat was fluffy, and one shiny black boot was already on. But when he reached for the other boot, it was gone. Santa scratched his beard. I'm sure I left it right here. The elves searched behind toy piles. Rudolph peeked under the sleigh. Mrs. Claus even checked the cookie jar. No boot anywhere. Meanwhile, in a tiny corner of the workshop, a mischievous mouse named Pip dragged the giant boot across the floor, giggling. He wasn't trying to cause trouble. He thought the boot was a perfect place to store his winter snacks. But as he tugged it around, he overheard Santa saying, "If I don't find my boot soon, I can't start delivering gifts." Pip froze. Oh no. I didn't mean to ruin Christmas. With all his tiny strength, he pushed the boot back toward Santa. Santa blinked in surprise. Well now, what do we have here? Pip squeaked nervously and pointed at the boot, as if to say, sorry, this is yours. Santa laughed warmly and lifted the mouse into his gloved hand. Thank you, little friend. You may be small, but you just saved Christmas. Pip puffed up proudly as Santa put on his boot and headed out into the snowy night. From then on, Pip became Santa's tiniest and bravest helper. Moral: even mistakes can become magical when you choose to make things right. If this story warmed your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more magical bedtime tales. The Christmas Tree That Could Sing Bedtime Story. In the heart of Pineberry Town stood a tall Christmas tree named Evergreen. He was beautifully decorated, golden ribbons, shining ornaments, and a star that sparkled like a tiny sun. But Evergreen had a secret. He could sing, not loudly, just a soft, gentle hum that only the night wind could hear. Every Christmas Eve, he wished someone could hear his song, a song filled with warmth, hope, and Christmas magic. One quiet night, a little girl named Melody walked into the town square. She couldn't sleep and wanted some fresh air. As she passed the tree, she stopped. What is that sound?" she whispered. Evergreen froze. No one had ever heard him before. Melody stepped closer, listening. "It's beautiful," she said softly. Encouraged, Evergreen hummed a little louder, a soothing, magical tune that wrapped around her like a warm blanket. Melody sat beside him, letting the music fill her heart. Soon, families nearby opened their windows. The gentle melody floated through the air, calming, comforting, and full of Christmas cheer. People gathered around the tree, holding hands, smiling, and listening. For the first time, Evergreen wasn't just a tree. It was the heart of Christmas in Pineberry Town. And that night, Evergreen glowed brighter than ever because his song finally reached the world. Moral: your unique gifts matter most when you share them with others. If this story touched your heart, please. The Snowflake Who Wanted to Be Special Bedtime Story. High above the winter clouds, millions of tiny snowflakes danced in the freezing air, each one sparkling, swirling, and drifting toward the earth below. But one little snowflake named Flurry felt, ordinary. I'm not as big as the others, Flurry sighed. I'm not as fancy, not as twirly, not as shiny. I'm just plain. The older snowflakes laughed softly. Don't worry, little one. Every snowflake is unique. But Flurry didn't believe it. When the cold wind blew, all the snowflakes began their journey downward. They floated past rooftops, past glowing streetlights, past children building snowmen. Flurry wanted to sparkle like the others, but he kept falling faster and faster until, whoosh, he landed gently on the warm mitten of a little girl named Mia. She gasped in delight. Oh, you're perfect, Mia whispered. Flurry blinked. Perfect? Me? Mia called her mother over. Mommy, look. This snowflake is the most beautiful I've ever seen. Look at the tiny shapes and the patterns. It looks like a little star. Her mother smiled. Sweetheart, no two snowflakes in the entire world are the same. And this one, it chose you. Flurry felt something warm, not from the mitten, but from Mia's words. He finally saw himself reflected in her wide, sparkling eyes, a one-of-a-kind treasure of nature. As he slowly melted into a tiny drop of water, drifting into the soft fabric of the glove, Flurry whispered happily, I really was special. The Lost Letter to Santa Bedtime Story. In a little snowy village, a girl named Emma wrote a Christmas letter. She didn't ask for toys or sweets. Her wish was simple. Dear Santa, please bring my dad home for Christmas. I miss him. Love, Emma. Emma placed the letter on her windowsill, hoping the winter wind would take it to Santa. But that night, a strong gust blew the letter into the air and carried it far away. It drifted into the dark forest, skimmed across an icy river, and got caught on a snowy tree branch. A friendly fox spotted it and pushed it free with his nose. Then a wise old owl picked it up and flew it high into the night sky. The glowing northern lights shimmered above, guiding the letter toward the North Pole. Finally, the letter floated down and landed gently at Santa's boots. Santa opened it, read the words, and his eyes softened. This wish is special, he whispered. A girl who doesn't want gifts, only her father. Santa looked into his magical globe and saw Emma's father working far away, wishing he could be home too. That night, before anything else, Santa visited him first. With a touch of Christmas magic, he brought Emma's father back to their warm little home. On Christmas morning, Emma ran to the tree but froze in surprise. Her father was standing there, smiling. Your letter reached me, he said softly. Emma hugged him tight, her heart finally complete. Moral: the most powerful wishes are the ones made with love. Next story 16. The Naughty Elf Who Learned to Care. The Naughty Elf Who Learned to Care Bedtime Story. At the North Pole lived a tiny elf named Flip, famous for one thing: mischief. He swapped reindeer bells, painted snowmen purple, and once, he even glued Santa's boots to the floor. The other elves groaned, Flip, Christmas is not for pranks. But Flip just giggled and ran off to cause more trouble. One busy evening, while the elves prepared gifts, Flip pulled his biggest prank yet. He switched all the name tags on Santa's presents. When Santa checked the list, his eyes widened. Flip, children might get the wrong gifts. We must fix this. Flip laughed at first, until he saw tired elves rushing everywhere, worried and stressed. A small elf named Penny tugged his sleeve. Flip, kids are counting on us. Christmas is about caring, not tricks. For the first time, Flip's smile faded. He hadn't meant to hurt anyone. Feeling guilty, he grabbed a lantern and worked harder than ever sorting gifts. fixing labels, helping every elf he could. By morning, the workshop sparkled with order again. Santa placed a gentle hand on Flip's shoulder. "You learned something important tonight. Caring is the biggest magic of Christmas." Flip smiled quietly. That night, he delivered gifts beside Santa not as the naughty elf, but as the elf who finally understood kindness. Moral: fun is good, but caring for others makes life truly magical. Next story ready. Story 17. The Christmas Clock That Stopped Ticking. The Christmas Clock That Stopped Ticking Bedtime Story. Deep inside the North Pole stood a giant golden clock, known as the Christmas Clock. Its ticking wasn't just sound, it kept Christmas magic flowing across the world. Tick, tock, tick, tock, until one silent night, it stopped. The moment it froze, snowflakes stopped falling midair. Reindeer paused in their tracks. Even Santa's sleigh lights dimmed. "Without the clock," Santa said worriedly, "Christmas magic won't reach the children." The elves tried everything new. Gears, shiny springs, special oils, but the clock refused to tick. Then a little girl named Lila, who had come to visit the elves, stepped forward shyly. "My grandma once said," she whispered, "that some clocks don't run on gears, but on joy." Santa raised an eyebrow. "Joy?" Lila nodded. "Maybe it needs laughter. Real, happy laughter." Unsure but hopeful, the elves gathered around the clock. Lila took a deep breath and told her silliest joke, then made funny faces, then spun in a circle until she fell giggling into the snow. The elves watched, then burst into laughter too. The sound echoed through the workshop, warm and bright. Suddenly, tick, tock, the golden hands began to move again, faster and brighter than before. Snowflakes fell. Lights sparkled. Christmas magic rushed back into the air like a joyful breeze. Santa lifted Lila up gently. "You reminded us," he said, smiling, "that the heart of Christmas is joy shared." Lila grinned. "Even clocks need happiness sometimes." Moral: joy is powerful. Santa's New Sleigh Driver Bedtime Story. Every Christmas, Santa chose one elf to ride beside him and guide the sleigh. No one expected him to choose Bumble, the clumsiest elf in the North Pole. Bumble tripped over gift bags, slipped on snow, and once accidentally rolled down a hill like a snowball. So when Santa said, "Bumble, you're coming with me tonight," the elves stared in shock. "Me?" Bumble whispered. "I might mess everything up." Santa smiled. Sometimes the one who makes mistakes knows the most. That night, the sky was full of roaring winds and swirling snow. Halfway through their journey, a giant block of ice fell and blocked Santa's usual path. "We can't go this way," Santa said. But Bumble remembered all the places he had fallen during sleigh training: narrow trails, hidden turns, and small snowy tunnels. "Santa, I know another route," he said bravely. Trusting him, Santa let Bumble lead. They followed his tricky shortcut through twisting mountain paths and soon broke free into a clear, calm sky. "We made it," Santa laughed. When they returned, all the elves cheered for Bumble. "You saved Christmas. You're amazing." Bumble's heart glowed. Maybe being clumsy had led him exactly where he needed to be. Moral: every flaw can become a gift with courage and the right moment. Ready for the next? Just say Story 19. The Aurora's Secret Message. The Aurora's Secret Message Bedtime Story. In a small, icy village, a lonely boy named Noah loved watching the sky at night. While other kids played together, Noah sat quietly on a snowy hill, wishing he had a friend. One freezing evening, the northern lights' bright ribbons of green, purple, and blue spread across the sky. Noah whispered, "I wish someone understood me." To his surprise, the colors above shimmered and began to dance in shapes. First a heart, then a star, then a warm, glowing swirl that pointed directly toward the village. Noah blinked. "Are you talking to me?" The aurora flickered softly, almost like a gentle yes. Curious and comforted, Noah followed the glowing direction. It led him through the snowy lanes until he reached the village square, where a girl his age sat alone on a bench, hugging her knees. Her name was Lena, a new arrival who hadn't made any friends yet. Noah hesitated, then said softly, "Hi, I think the lights wanted me to find you." Lena looked up, surprised, then smiled shyly. "I was watching them too, wishing I wasn't alone." Both kids looked at the sky. The aurora spread into a bright, swirling circle glowing like a giant smile. Noah sat beside Lena, and they talked until their cheeks turned rosy from the cold. They laughed, shared stories, and walked home together for the very first time. As they left, the northern lights twinkled warmly, like they were proud. Moral: sometimes the universe gently guides us toward the friendships we need most. The Gingerbread Boy Who Ran Away Bedtime Story. In a cozy little bakery, a baker shaped a special gingerbread boy named Chip. Chip had shiny candy eyes, a jelly bean smile, and icing buttons that sparkled. But Chip wasn't like the other cookies. He wanted adventure. "I don't want to sit on a plate waiting to be eaten," Chip said. "I want to see the world." So the moment the baker turned around, Chip leaped off the tray and dashed out the door, leaving tiny crumbs behind him. He ran through the snowy streets, past carolers, past glowing shop windows, and into the quiet woods. At first, it was exciting. Chip climbed tree roots, slid down icy hills, and even made friends with a curious squirrel. But when the sky grew dark, the woods didn't feel magical anymore. Chip shivered, the wind howled, snowflakes piled on his jelly bean smile. I missed the warm bakery," he whispered. Just then, a soft light appeared the baker, holding a lantern. "I thought you might be scared," the baker said kindly. "I followed your crumbs." Chip's cookie heart melted with relief. "I wanted adventure," Chip admitted. "But home is sweeter." The baker picked him up gently. "Adventure is wonderful, Chip, but there's always a place waiting for you to come back." And that night, Chip sat proudly on the bakery counter, safe, warm, and exactly where he belonged. Moral: sometimes you must go far to realize that home is the sweetest place of all. Next story. Story 21. The Candle That Never Went Out. The Candle That Never Went Out Bedtime Story. On a quiet, snowy street stood a tiny old shop owned by Mrs. Willow, a gentle woman known for making magical candles. But one candle was different from the rest, a small golden one that never went out, no matter how strong the wind blew. Mrs. Willow kept it in her window every night, saying, "This candle is for anyone who feels alone." One freezing evening, a boy named Evan wandered the streets with heavy steps. His family had moved away suddenly, and he felt lonely in the big new town. As he walked, he noticed the warm glow coming from Mrs. Willow's window, the little golden candle glowing softly in the cold darkness. He stepped inside the shop, shivering. Mrs. Willow looked up with a smile. "Dear child, what brings you here?" I just felt drawn to that light," Evan whispered. She handed him a cup of warm cocoa and led him to the candle. "This flame never fades," she said. "Not because it's magic, but because it was created with love." Evan watched its gentle glow. Somehow, the warmth reached his heart too. Can I stay a little longer?" he asked quietly. "Of course," Mrs. Willow said. "This light is for you." Night after night, Evan returned. He read stories, helped in the shop, and slowly made friends in the neighborhood. And every time he felt lonely, the golden candle reminded him he wasn't alone anymore. Moral: a small light can bring great comfort, especially to those who feel alone. Next story. 22. The Wishing Snowman. The Wishing Snowman Bedtime Story. In a snowy village, children built a tall, cheerful snowman with a carrot nose, coal eyes, and a big, warm smile. But what made him truly special was the heart-shaped button they placed on his chest. Legend said that any snowman with a heart-shaped button could grant one pure wish, not for toys or riches, but for something the heart truly needed. That evening, a girl named Mara walked up to the snowman quietly. Her scarf was old, her mittens thin, and her eyes filled with worry. She gently touched the heart-shaped button and whispered, "I don't want gifts. I just want my mom to smile again." Her mother had been sad for weeks since they lost their home. Mara felt helpless, but she still hoped. Suddenly, the snowman's coal eyes shimmered. A soft, warm glow spread from the heart-shaped button and wrapped around Mara like a gentle winter hug. The next morning, Mara woke to the sound of laughter, her mother's laughter. Their neighbors had gathered outside with warm clothes, food, and even a place for them to stay. People they barely knew had come together to help. Mara looked toward the snowman. His smile seemed a little brighter, almost proud. She understood then. The snowman hadn't granted her wish with magic. He had simply reminded the village of kindness, and kindness had done the rest. Mara hugged her mother tightly. Her wish had come true. Moral: a true wish is fulfilled not by magic, but by the kindness of caring hearts. Next story: Santa's Sleepy Reindeer. The Orphan's Christmas Miracle Bedtime Story. In a quiet town, a small orphanage stood at the edge of a snowy hill. Inside lived a little boy named Leo, who always watched other families decorate trees and bake cookies for Christmas. Leo didn't wish for toys or candies. He wished for something he had never felt: a family who would love him forever. On Christmas Eve, while the other children were playing, Leo sat alone by the window, drawing little hearts in the frost. "I hope someone remembers me," he whispered. Just then, a soft knock came at the door. The orphanage caretaker opened it to find a couple standing in the cold. Mr. and Mrs. Turner, "Hey," held a small gift wrapped in red paper. "We're looking for a child who still believes in miracles," the woman said gently. When Leo peeked from behind the door, the couple smiled warmly. "Hello, Leo," Mr. Turner said. "We've heard about your kindness, and we'd like to spend Christmas with you." Leo blinked in disbelief. "No one has ever asked for me," he whispered. Mrs. Turner knelt down beside him. "We are asking if you'll have us." Leo slowly took their hands, his heart thumping with hope. That night, they decorated a tree together, baked cookies, and laughed until their cheeks turned red. Before bed, the couple handed Leo the red gift. Inside was a small wooden heart with his name carved on it. "This," Mrs. Turner said softly, "is the first ornament of our family." Tears filled Leo's eyes for the first time. He felt the warmth of belonging. The Toy Soldier with a Soft Heart Bedtime Story. In a cozy toy shop, a wooden toy soldier named Braveheart stood proudly on the shelf. He looked strong and fearless with his red coat and wooden sword. So, all the toys believed he was the bravest of them all. But Braveheart had a secret behind his tough look. He had a very soft, gentle heart. He didn't want to fight. He wanted to protect someone who felt alone. One snowy evening, a shy little girl named Clara entered the shop. She had just moved to a new town and felt scared and lonely. When she picked up Braveheart, he felt something warm inside. "You look brave," Clara whispered. "Maybe braver than me." That night, shadows in her room frightened her. Clara hugged the soldier tightly. Suddenly, Braveheart glowed softly and seemed to stand a little taller. "I'm here," he whispered in her heart. "You're safe." From then on, Braveheart stayed by her bedside every night, not to fight battles but to give Clara comfort and courage. Clara smiled at him each morning. "You're brave because you care," she said. And Braveheart knew his soft heart was his greatest strength. Moral: The bravest hearts are often the kindest. Ready for the next. The Orphan's Christmas Miracle. The Candy Cane Forest Bedtime Story. On a snowy winter afternoon, siblings Milo and Sophie were playing behind their grandparents' house when they noticed something strange, tiny, peppermint-scented footprints in the snow. "Let's follow them," Milo said. The footprints led them deeper into the woods, and suddenly the trees disappeared. In their place stood tall candy canes, twisting red and white, growing like a magical forest. "Milo, this is a candy cane forest," Sophie gasped. The air smelled sweet, and the snow sparkled like sugar. But as they walked between the striped trunks, the forest seemed to shift gently, as if alive. Then a tiny peppermint elf jumped out. "I'm Pip, the guardian of this forest," he said proudly. "You're welcome to explore, but don't wander too far. The candy cane forest likes to play tricks." Milo nodded, but his eyes were full of excitement. When a glowing candy butterfly fluttered by, he ran after it. Sophie followed, calling, "Milo, slow down." Soon, the candy trees began twisting in new directions. The sky grew dim. The peppermint glow faded. "Milo, I think we're lost," Sophie whispered, holding his hand tightly. Just then, Pip reappeared, tapping his peppermint staff on the snowy ground. "You two let your curiosity guide you too far," he said gently. "But you have kind hearts, and the forest helps those who mean no harm." The candy canes lit up, one by one, forming a glowing red and white path. "Follow the sweet light," Pip told them. "It will lead you home." The Elf with No Talent Bedtime Story. At the North Pole, every elf had a special talent. Some painted toys beautifully. Some wrapped gifts at super speed. Some could even make a perfect cookie with their eyes closed. But then there was Pip, a small elf who felt like he couldn't do anything right. When he tried painting, he spilled glitter everywhere. When he wrapped gifts, the paper tore. When he baked, the cookies burned or puffed up like balloons. The other elves didn't tease him, but Pip still felt embarrassed. "I have no talent," he sighed. "Maybe I don't belong in Santa's workshop." One day, Santa noticed Pip sitting alone and invited him to help deliver a few small gifts to woodland animals. Pip agreed, though nervously. As they visited each little home, something surprising happened. The animals rushed straight to Pip. A cold bunny cuddled into his arms. A shy fox nudged his leg for comfort. Even a grumpy hedgehog crawled onto his lap and sighed happily. Santa watched with a warm smile. "Pip," he said gently, "your talent isn't painting or rapping. Your talent is comfort." Pip blinked. "Comfort? You have the warmest hugs in the North Pole," Santa said. "You make others feel safe and loved, especially on cold Christmas nights." From that day on, Pip became the official Christmas comfort elf. Whenever an elf felt stressed, or a reindeer felt nervous, or a child needed extra warmth, Pip was there with his gentle smile and warm, magical hug. It became the most cherished gift of all. The Broken Ornament Bedtime Story. Every year, the Morgan family decorated their Christmas tree with old, precious ornaments. But the most special one was a glass star made by Grandma long ago. One afternoon, while helping decorate, little Ella reached too high, and the star slipped from her fingers. Crash! It shattered into glowing pieces across the floor. "Oh no," Ella whispered, tears filling her eyes. "I broke Grandma's star." Her parents hurried over, but Ella couldn't stop crying. She felt she had ruined Christmas. That evening, Ella's grandpa sat beside her with a gentle smile. "Do you know what makes something precious?" he asked. "It's the love behind it," Ella sniffled. "But it's broken now." Grandpa picked up the pieces and placed them on the table. "Sometimes," he said softly, "broken things can become even more beautiful." Together, they glued the pieces into a new shape, not a perfect star anymore, but a shimmering snowflake ornament that sparkled in 1,000 tiny reflections. When they hung it on the tree, It glowed brighter than any other decoration. Ella smiled for the first time that day. It's still beautiful. Grandpa hugged her. Because love doesn't break, it simply changes shape. Moral: broken things can shine even brighter when healed with love. Ready for the next story? The Puppy Who Saved Christmas. The Puppy Who Saved Christmas Bedtime Story. On a snowy Christmas Eve, Santa's sleigh was lost in a terrible blizzard. The wind howled. The sky was white. Even Rudolph couldn't see the path. Suddenly, a tiny bark echoed through the snow. A small lost puppy appeared, wagging its frozen tail. Santa knelt down. "Hello, little one. Are you lost too?" The puppy barked again, louder this time, and started running ahead. It kept turning back, making sure Santa followed. Step by step, bark by bark, the brave puppy led the sleigh through the storm, across snowy hills, past frozen lakes, straight toward the glowing North Star. Finally, the clouds cleared. Santa could see the world again. He lifted the puppy into his arms. "Because of your brave heart, Christmas is saved." And that night, the little puppy rode beside Santa, becoming the tiniest hero in Christmas history. Moral: even the smallest heart can make the biggest difference. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more magical bedtime tales. Ready for the next story? Story 30, Santa's Snowy Shortcut. Santa's Snowy Shortcut Bedtime Story. One Christmas Eve, Santa was running a little behind schedule. The snow was falling faster than usual, covering every path he knew. Maybe I should try a shortcut," Santa said, studying his map. He turned the sleigh down a narrow, snowy trail no one had used in years. The trees sparkled like diamonds, and the air felt strangely magical. Then, a warm, golden light appeared ahead. Santa gasped. He had stumbled into a hidden village. A village that hadn't been seen for 100 years. Tiny cottages glowed with soft lanterns. Gentle music floated in the air, and magical beings, elves, sprites, and snowfolk came out smiling. "Welcome back, Santa," the village elder said. "We've been waiting for someone with a pure heart to find us again." They gifted Santa shimmering stardust that made his sleigh faster than ever. With their help, he finished delivering gifts before sunrise. As he flew away, Santa whispered, "I'll never forget this magical shortcut." And the village shimmered, then slowly disappeared back into legend. Moral: sometimes the unfamiliar path leads to the most magical surprises. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more magical bedtime tales. Ready for the next story? Story 30. 1. The Moon Who Watched Christmas. The Moon Who Watched Christmas Bedtime Story. High above the peaceful earth, the moon shone extra bright on Christmas Eve. Every year, it watched children wish upon stars, hang stockings, and cuddle into bed with sleepy smiles. But this year, the moon noticed something new. Children everywhere were whispering their Christmas wishes up to the sky. Curious, the moon leaned its soft glow closer. A little boy whispered, "I wish my dad comes home soon." A girl murmured, "I hope Grandma gets better." Another child said, "I just want everyone to be happy tonight." The moon felt its glowing heart warm. It couldn't grant big miracles, but it could send a little light. So it stretched its silver beams across oceans, forests, and cities. Soft, comforting light that touched every child who whispered to it. Parents hugged their children a little tighter. Sick hearts felt a tiny spark of hope. Lonely souls felt just a little less alone. Santa, flying through the night sky, smiled at the glowing earth below and whispered, "Well done, dear moon. You've made Christmas a little brighter." And the moon, proud and peaceful, kept watch until morning. Moral: even the smallest light can bring comfort to someone in the dark. If this story touched your heart, Please like, share, and subscribe for more magical bedtime tales. Ready for the next story? Story 32, The Nutcrackers Christmas Patrol. The Nutcrackers Christmas Patrol Bedtime Story. In a cozy little house on Pineberry Street, a girl named Clara placed her favorite wooden nutcracker beside the Christmas tree. He wore a bright red coat, shiny boots, and had a brave little smile carved on his face. That night, as the clock struck midnight, something magical happened. The nutcracker blinked, then stretched, then stepped down from the table, alive. Clara was fast asleep, but he had a mission, for on Christmas Eve, the nutcracker had one secret duty: to protect children's dreams. He marched softly through the house, his wooden boots tapping gently on the floor. Suddenly, a swirl of dark, shadowy shapes began to creep from under the doors. Nightmares. The nutcracker stood tall. "No nightmares tonight," he said firmly. He raised his tiny sword, and with a sweep of warm golden light, he pushed the shadows back. They dissolved like mist. Then he peeked into Clara's room. She was dreaming of twinkling lights, dancing candy canes, and snowy adventures. He smiled, but just as he turned to leave, he heard a tiny whimper. Clara's stuffed bunny had fallen from her bed. The nutcracker gently picked it up, tucked it beside her, and whispered, "Sweet dreams, little one." Before dawn arrived, he climbed back to his place near the tree and froze into stillness once more. Clara never knew what happened, but she woke with the warm feeling of a night protected by magic. Moral: true bravery is using your strength to bring peace and comfort to others. The Sleepy Town's Christmas Surprise Bedtime Story. In the quiet town of Hollyhush, everyone was always tired. The baker yawned over his dough, the postman nodded off on his route, and even the mayor kept dozing during meetings. So, on Christmas Eve, the whole town fell asleep early. No lights, no carols, just peaceful snoring everywhere. High above, Santa looked down and whispered, "Hollyhush needs a little Christmas cheer." When midnight came, tiny, glowing midnight helpers drifted down from the sky. They were small, sparkling spirits who loved spreading joy. They decorated the empty streets with ribbons and lights, left thoughtful gifts inside every home, and placed a bright star on the town's tree. By morning, the townspeople woke up slowly and gasped. Hollyhush was shining with color and Christmas magic. The baker smiled, the postman laughed, and even the mayor stayed awake. No one knew who helped them, but the town felt warmer, happier, and full of Christmas spirit again. Moral: kindness given in secret can change everything. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Ready for the next story? Story 34, The Star That Fell to Earth. The Star That Fell to Earth Bedtime Story. One snowy night, a lonely boy named Caleb stood by his window, unable to sleep. He often felt scared of the dark, until he noticed a tiny light falling from the sky. Whoosh, twinkle. A small star drifted down and landed softly in the snow outside his house. Caleb stepped out carefully, and the little star glowed brighter when he came near. It wasn't hot, just warm, like a gentle hug. "Are you lost?" Caleb whispered. The star flickered, as if saying yes. So Caleb carried it inside and placed it on his nightstand. The room filled with a soft golden glow, chasing away every shadow. For the first time in months, Caleb wasn't afraid. That night, the star stayed beside him, glowing whenever he stirred, calming him whenever he worried. It became his tiny friend, his light in the darkness. But on Christmas Eve, the star pulsed gently, as if asking to go home. Caleb opened his window and whispered, "Thank you. I won't forget you." The star floated up into the sky, brighter than ever, and settled in a place where Caleb could always see it. From then on, whenever Caleb felt scared, he looked up, and the star shimmered back, reminding him he was never alone. Moral: even the smallest light can guide you through your darkest moments. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Ready for the next story. Story 35. The Dragon Who Loved Snow. The Dragon Who Loved Snow Bedtime Story. In a hidden corner of Winterwood Forest lived a tiny dragon named Pippa. While most dragons breathed fire, Pippa couldn't know flames, not even a spark. The other dragons teased her, saying, "A dragon who can't breathe fire? Impossible." So Pippa often wandered alone, especially in winter, because winter was her favorite. She loved the soft snow, the quiet nights, and the sparkling frost on the trees. One Christmas Eve, as she sat on a snowy hill, feeling lonely, a cold breeze tickled her nose. Pippa sneezed, "Achoo!" and instead of fire, a swirl of shimmering snowflakes burst from her mouth. They weren't ordinary snowflakes. Each one glowed softly and danced in the air like tiny stars. Pippa gasped in delight. She sneezed again. More glowing snowflakes. Soon the entire hill glittered with magical light. Just then, Santa's sleigh dipped low. "What beautiful snow magic," Santa said, amazed. He asked Pippa to fly beside him and sprinkle glowing snow to guide the reindeer through a thick winter fog. Pippa's snowflakes lit up the sky like twinkling lanterns. Thanks to her, Santa delivered every gift on time, and when she returned home, the other dragons surrounded her, wide-eyed. "Your magic is special," they said, "more special than fire." From that night on, Pippa was known as the Snow Dragon, the one who made Christmas sparkle a little brighter. Moral: what makes you different can become your greatest magic. Share, subscribe. Next story. The Christmas Owl's Gentle Watch Bedtime Story. In snowy evergreen forest lived a wise old owl named Orlo. Every Christmas Eve, he stayed awake to watch over all the animals. That night, a little fawn named Willow wandered too far and got lost in a rising snowstorm. The wind howled, snow spun everywhere, and she couldn't find her way home. From his tall pine tree, Orlo sensed her fear. He glided down, his golden eyes glowing like warm lanterns. "Follow me," he hooted softly. Willow walked behind Orlo as he lit the snowy path with his gentle light. At last, they reached the forest edge where her worried mother waited. Relieved and grateful, the animals left Orlo tiny gifts the next morning: berries, pine cones, and soft moss, to thank him for his watchful heart. And every Christmas after, Orlo continued to guard the forest with quiet, caring eyes. Moral: a little guidance can bring someone safely home. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Ready for the next story. Story 37. The Teddy Bear's Christmas Promise. The Teddy Bear's Christmas Promise Bedtime Story. Long ago, in a tiny toy shop, sat a soft brown teddy bear named Button. Every Christmas, children came and went, but no one ever chose him. Still, Button waited patiently, whispering the same promise each night: "Someday, I'll find the child who needs me most." Years passed. The shop grew old. Button's fur faded, and his ribbon loosened, but his little stitched heart stayed hopeful. One snowy Christmas Eve, a woman entered the shop looking for something special. She spotted Button sitting quietly on the highest shelf. "This one," she said softly. "He's perfect." That night, Button was placed beside a small boy named Ethan, a shy child who often felt alone. When Ethan hugged him for the first time, Button felt warmth rush through his stuffing. Ethan whispered, "I'm glad you're here." From that moment, Button knew his promise had come true. He comforted Ethan during storms, sat beside him during bedtime, and listened to every fear, every hope, every wish. Button had waited years, but he had found the child who truly needed him. And on Christmas morning, Ethan declared, "You're my best friend forever." Moral: the right love always finds you sometimes, it just takes time. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Ready for the next story. Story 38, Santa's Magic Mittens. Santa's Magic Mittens Bedtime Story. In Santa's workshop, there was one special item he always kept safe: a pair of soft, red mittens stitched with golden thread. They didn't just keep his hands warm. They held a quiet magic. Whoever wore them felt kindness glowing in their heart. One Christmas Eve, a huge blizzard swept across the North Pole. The reindeer shivered, the elves huddled together, and even Santa felt the cold bite. As Santa reached for his sleigh, he noticed a tiny elf named Nori shivering behind a snowdrift. She had forgotten her gloves and didn't want to slow everyone down. Without a word, Santa gently placed his magic mittens into her hands. The moment Nori slipped them on, warmth spread through her, not just on her fingers, but all the way to her heart. Suddenly, the blizzard didn't feel so scary. She stood straighter, smiled wider, and helped guide the reindeer with newfound courage. All night long, the mittens' glow kept everyone feeling safe and warm. And when Christmas morning came, Nori returned the mittens to Santa. He winked and whispered, "Magic grows when we share it." Moral: a small act of kindness can warm many hearts. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Ready for the next story. Story 39, The Gift with No Wrapping. The Gift with No Wrapping Bedtime Story. In a cozy little town covered in snow lived a boy named Oliver. Christmas was just a day away, and everyone was busy wrapping presents in shiny paper and bright ribbons. But Oliver had no gift for his mom. He had no money for toys, no fancy paper, not even a ribbon. Feeling sad, he walked through the quiet park. There he met an old man feeding birds. "You look worried," the man said kindly. Oliver sighed. "I want to give my mom the perfect Christmas gift, but I have nothing." The old man smiled. "Some gifts aren't bought or wrapped. The best ones are felt here." He gently tapped Oliver's chest. Oliver thought about it all the way home. That night, he made his mom a simple card from plain paper. Inside, he wrote, "My gift is me, my love, my hugs, and my promise to help you every day." On Christmas morning, his mom opened the card and tears filled her eyes. She hugged him tightly and whispered, "This is the most beautiful gift I've ever received." Oliver realized the old man was right. Love needs no box, no bow, and no wrapping at all. Moral: the greatest gifts come from the heart, not a store. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Ready for the next story. Story 40, The Girl Who Painted Christmas. The Girl Who Painted Christmas Bedtime Story. In the quiet village of Snowvale lived a little girl named Clara, who loved to paint more than anything in the world. But her village was always gray in winter. No colors, no decorations, just snow and silence. One Christmas Eve, Clara sat by her window with her paints, wishing she could make the world brighter. So she picked up her brush and began to paint first a glowing star, then a sparkling tree, then little houses filled with warm, golden light. As she painted, something magical happened. The star she drew floated off the page and into the sky. The tree sprang to life outside her home, shimmering with color. Her painted houses glowed warmly throughout Snowvale. The entire village woke to see colors dancing everywhere. Reds, greens, golds, and blues swirling like Christmas magic in the air. Clara stepped outside, stunned. Her paintings had come alive. The villagers gathered around her, amazed and grateful. "You brought Christmas to our village," they said. Clara smiled shyly. "I just wanted everyone to feel joy." That night, The sky above Snowvale shone with colors no one had ever seen before. A gift painted straight from Clara's heart. Moral: sharing your talent can fill the world with brightness. If this story painted a smile on your face, please like, share, and subscribe. Ready for the next story. Story 41. The Midnight Snow Train. The Boy Who Returned the Lost Balloon. One afternoon in a small neighborhood park, a young boy named Liam spotted a bright red balloon under a bench. It was perfect, shiny, floating gently. Exactly the kind of balloon he loved but rarely got. He grabbed the string with excitement, and then heard soft sobbing behind him. A little girl stood near the swings, tears rolling down her cheeks, clutching only a broken piece of string. Liam slowly realized the truth. The balloon he found was hers. He looked at the balloon again. He really wanted to keep it. No one knew he had found it, but kindness whispered louder than temptation. Liam walked over and gently held out the balloon. "I think this belongs to you." The girl's crying stopped. Her eyes widened with joy as she hugged the balloon tightly. "Thank you," she said, smiling through the last of her tears. Liam walked away feeling lighter, happier, as if giving the balloon had filled him with something much bigger. Moral: doing the right thing may feel small, but it creates a happiness nothing else can. If this touched you, please like, share, and subscribe. The Midnight Snow Train. Late one snowy night, Emma couldn't sleep. She pressed her face to the window and gasped. A glowing train chugged softly down the street, leaving a trail of sparkling snowflakes behind. Its doors opened with a warm golden light. "Coming aboard?" the conductor asked with a smile. Emma stepped inside and found children from all over the world, laughing and pointing as the train lifted into the starry sky. They rode through shimmering clouds, past moonlit mountains, and over rooftops covered in fresh snow. The train slowed beside a giant silver star. "Make a wish," the conductor whispered. Emma closed her eyes and wished for a Christmas full of love for everyone. When she woke up in her bed, snowflakes were gently falling, the same ones from the midnight snow train. Moral: Christmas magic is real when your heart is full of kindness. If this story warmed your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Ready for next story. Story 42. The Elf Who Could Speak to Reindeer. The Elf Who Could Speak to Reindeer. Lulu was the smallest elf in the North Pole, but she had a rare gift. She could understand reindeer language. One evening, she found the reindeer unusually quiet. Rufus worried he wasn't strong enough. Bella feared she might not be needed someday, and little Comet felt invisible and lonely. Lulu listened to each of them gently. "Rufus, you protect the team. Bella, your grace guides everyone. And Comet, you shine in ways you don't even see." Their eyes brightened. Their hearts felt lighter, and soon the stable filled with warm laughter. When Santa arrived, he stared in wonder. "My reindeer look happier than ever." Lulu smiled, because someone heard what they were afraid to say. That Christmas, the reindeer flew with extra sparkle, thanks to one tiny elf and her caring heart. Moral: a little listening can create big magic. Ready for the Christmas feather. Santa's Magical Map. Bedtime Story. On Christmas Eve, Santa opened his red coat pocket and gasped. His magical map, the one that glowed and guided him to every child, had begun to fade. Without it, some homes might be forgotten. Just then, the map fluttered up and whispered, "Follow me. Hope still shines." It floated out of the sleigh, glowing softly like a firefly. Santa followed as it led him through shimmering clouds, snowy mountains, and quiet frozen lakes. Finally, the map stopped above a tiny cottage hidden in the woods. Inside lived a little boy named Milo, who had written only one wish. "Dear Santa, please don't forget children like me who live far away." The map brightened, showing Santa exactly why it had faded. It needed hope to glow, and Milo's wish restored its magic. Santa gently placed a gift by the boy's bed and whispered, "I never forget a hopeful heart." With that, the map burst into brilliant light, fully restored, guiding Santa to every last home. Moral: hope lights the way, even when the path seems unclear. If this story warmed your heart, like, share, and subscribe for more magical bedtime stories. Ready for the next story. Story 45. The Boy Who Saved Winter. The Boy Who Saved Winter. Bedtime story. In the village of Frostfield, winter suddenly vanished. No snow, no ice, not even a cold breeze. Children stared at dry rooftops, and even Santa grew worried. Without winter, Christmas magic would fade. But one boy, Evan, noticed something strange. A tiny trail of melted snowflakes led into the deep forest. Curious and brave, Evan followed the trail until he found a small, shivering creature made of swirling frost. It whispered, "I am winter's spirit. Someone stole my snow crystal." Without the crystal, winter couldn't exist. Evan nodded with determination and searched until he found the crystal trapped inside a dark, frozen cave. A greedy frost goblin had taken it, hoping to keep all the snow magic for himself. Evan gently approached and said, "Winter is for everyone, even you. Let's share the magic." The goblin blinked in surprise. No one had ever offered him kindness before. Slowly, he returned the crystal. The moment Evan placed it back into the spirit's hands, a burst of shimmering snow swirled into the sky. Winter returned. Snowflakes danced. Christmas magic flowed again, and Santa, flying overhead, smiled proudly. One brave boy saved winter with kindness. Moral: true courage comes from kindness, not strength. If this story touched your heart, like, share, and subscribe for more magical bedtime stories. Ready for the next story. Story 46. The Sleeping Christmas Princess. The Sleeping Christmas Princess Bedtime Story. High in the snowy Crystal Mountains, there was a magical kingdom where Christmas lights sparkled all year. But at the heart of the castle slept Princess Elara, a gentle girl whose dreams kept Christmas magic alive. Every year, as children wished, trees twinkled and snow softly fell. It was all because Elara dreamed it. But one Christmas Eve, a dark, icy wind swept through the land. Elara's dream began to fade, and slowly, the Christmas magic dimmed. The stars stopped twinkling. The bells stopped ringing. Even Santa felt the world turning cold. A brave little boy named Milo, who lived near the mountains, noticed the silence. His grandmother whispered, "Only a pure heart can wake the Christmas princess." So Milo climbed the snowy path, carrying a single lantern. When he reached the castle, he found Elara asleep on a glowing bed of frost. Gently, he whispered, "Princess, the world needs your dream again." A tiny tear of hope rolled down Milo's cheek and landed on her icy hand. Suddenly, the room filled with warm light. Elara opened her eyes. She smiled, touched by Milo's kindness. In that moment, Christmas magic burst across the kingdom. Lights sparkled again, carols filled the air, and Santa's sleigh soared brighter than ever. Princess Elara placed her hand on Milo's heart and said, "Thank you. Your kindness woke Christmas." Moral: a kind heart has the power to awaken hope even when the world feels frozen. The Lantern of Lost Dreams. Bedtime story. In a quiet, snowy village, there was a legend about an old lantern that glowed brighter than any star. It was called the Lantern of Lost Dreams because it carried every dream people had forgotten. One Christmas Eve, a gentle girl named Mara found the lantern buried under fresh snow near the woods. When she touched it, the lantern flickered, then shimmered with soft, golden light. Curious, Mara opened its tiny lid. To her surprise, hundreds of little dream lights floated out, glowing like fireflies. Each one whispered a forgotten wish. A child who once wanted to learn music, a mother who hoped for peace, a boy who dreamed of becoming brave. Mara felt her heart warm. She knew these dreams needed to return to the people who once cherished them. So she lifted the lantern and walked through the village. Wherever she passed, a dream light gently drifted into a home. A lonely man suddenly remembered his love for painting. A tired baker remembered he once wished to travel. Children woke with hope for the future glowing in their eyes. Even Santa, flying above, felt the magic spreading. He whispered, "Christmas is strongest when dreams come alive." By the time Mara reached her doorstep, the lantern was empty but glowing brighter than ever. She smiled, knowing she had helped the world remember its forgotten dreams. That night, Mara made one wish of her own. May no dream ever be lost again. The lantern twinkled, as if promising to keep her wish safe. The Reindeer Who Wanted a Friend Bedtime Story. In the snowy fields behind Santa's workshop lived a shy little reindeer named Podo. He wasn't the fastest or the strongest, and his antlers were smaller than everyone else's. But what Podo wanted most wasn't speed or strength. It was a friend. Every day he watched the other reindeer play, laugh, and practice flying together. Podo wished he could join them, but he was too nervous to try. One quiet evening, while wandering near the forest edge, he heard a tiny squeak. The little snow bunny was shivering in the cold, lost and alone. Podo gently bent down. "Don't be scared. I'll help you." The bunny hopped onto his back, and Podo carried her safely to a warm hollow under a pine tree. He shared his hay, shielded her from the wind, and kept her company until she fell asleep. The next morning, Santa came by and saw the two cuddled together. "Well, well," Santa said with a smile. "Looks like you've found the sweetest friend of all." Word spread quickly, and soon the other reindeer gathered around. "Podo, that was really kind," Bella said. Rufus added, "We'd love to play with someone who has a heart like yours." For the first time, Podo felt seen, truly seen. With a happy hop, the snow bunny nuzzled his nose, as if saying, "I'm your friend forever." From that day on, Podo never felt shy again. He learned that friendship doesn't come from being special, it comes from being kind. The Snow Angel That Came Alive Bedtime Story. On a quiet Christmas Eve, little Evan stepped outside feeling lonely. To cheer himself, he lay in the snow and made a perfect snow angel. Softly, he whispered, "I wish someone could stay with me tonight." A gentle breeze passed, and suddenly the snow angel began to glow. Slowly, it lifted from the ground, wings shimmering like stardust. "Don't worry," the snow angel said kindly. "I heard your wish." Together they played in the snow, watched the stars, and talked about Evan's dreams. The angel's calm voice made Evan feel warm and safe. As morning neared, the angel's glow started to fade. "Will you come back?" Evan asked. The angel touched his heart. "I'll always be with you here, whenever you need comfort." With a soft shimmer, it returned to snow, leaving behind one tiny glowing snowflake. Evan held it tightly, smiling. Christmas didn't feel lonely anymore. Moral: comfort and love can appear in magical moments when we least expect them. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Ready for the final tale. Story 50, The Christmas Whisper. The Christmas Whisper Bedtime Story. On a quiet Christmas Eve, a gentle, magical breeze, known as the Christmas Whisper, floated through the snowy night. It wasn't loud, just a soft whisper of hope, searching for hearts that needed comfort. Its first stop was a boy named Jonah, who felt lonely after moving to a new town. The whisper brushed his cheek, warm and calm, reminding him that brighter days were coming. Next, it drifted into the home of Mrs. Fern, an elderly woman who knitted scarves for children even though she lived alone. When the whisper touched her, she suddenly heard singing outside. The neighborhood kids had come to thank her with a Christmas carol. Then the whisper glided into the forest and found a tiny lost puppy shivering in the snow. It wrapped around him like a warm blanket, guiding him to a nearby house where a loving family welcomed him inside. All night long, the Christmas whisper traveled from home to home, filling hearts with warmth, kindness, and gentle hope. By sunrise, the whole world felt just a little softer, a little brighter, as if touched by something magical. Because sometimes, even the quietest whisper can make the biggest difference. Moral: even the smallest kindness can warm a heart and change a day. 50 magical Christmas bedtime stories to warm your heart. Family holiday special, Kin Soul Stories. If this story warmed your heart, please like, share, and subscribe.